Okay lads, the Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out soon, and with it, a whole new era of entertainment will be upon us. One filled with wonder, amazement, joy, and maybe, just maybe, video games. Yes, you heard that right folks. Rumor has it that the Switch 2 will have video games, and today I want to talk about some of the things that we can maybe see. I'm a video game YouTuber now, damn it, and I have a goddamn job to do. When making this video, I wasn't sure how I wanted to structure it, but ultimately I decided that just laying out a bunch of different ideas and speculation that I can then later retroactively place on a bingo board is what I'm going to do so I can call myself Gaming's Nostradamus. So for those of you watching this video, I need you to be cool about this and keep it on the down low when I go on the internet later and lie about how much of a genius I am. So, with all that out of the way, what do I, Valderrami, your favorite YouTuber, think will soon be upon us? That is a great question, and I'm glad you asked. Well, first up, I have a feeling that we may be getting a new Mario Kart game. Don't ask me how I know this, I just know. I can feel the vibes the universe is putting out to make this new Mario Kart a reality. Speaking of my favorite funny red Italian guy, besides me anyway, my other incredibly obvious safe bet here is that we are definitely going to be getting a new 3D Mario title. You've heard it all by this point, but still, we haven't gotten a new 3D Mario game since Odyssey for the Switch one, and we are definitely overdue. However, I don't think that the new 3D Mario will be a release title, as Papa Nintendo is going to want that sweet, sweet holiday money, and Mario always sells. Well, except Bowser's Inside Story Remake for the 3DS. While I doubt it'll be a release title, I do think we will get our first glimpse of it. These are both super important for Papa Nintendo to have at the ready, and as such, these two things are practically an obligation for them, and I feel like they have a ton of stuff cooking, and they want to get Mario's games released as soon as possible to get them out of the way, so to speak. And I'm sure over the course of the Switch 2's life cycle, we will see more party and sport games, but I don't think we'll be getting those quite yet. Also, it's not the funny red guy himself, but more adjacent, but I would totally love a new Captain Toad title. Maybe something that uses the rumored mouse functionality that the Switch 2 is going to have. As for how these games could play, I wish I could say, but despite how much I love the guy, I don't have much of an extensive history with Mario. The only Mario games I've beaten are Wonder, 3D World, Sunshine, and his baby brother's Spooky Ghost House, and those are all recent developments for me. Now, what I have played extensively is The Legend of Zelda, and so I can say with quite a bit more confidence that I don't think we're going to be getting too much from old Papa Nintendo for them quite yet. My fellow Zelda fans, between Tears of the Kingdom and Echoes of Wisdom, we've been eating really well lately, and we aren't in any danger of starving. However, we have been good little children, so maybe Nintendo will give us some dessert, some little sweet treats, if you will. You know where this is going. You've all heard the constant, never-ending rumors of the HD ports of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess getting ported over from the Wii U to the Switch, and any day now we're gonna get those. However, if for the sake of argument we were to put our clown makeup on one more time, they could come to Switch 2, which would be neat. I, however, am one of the 12 people in the world with a Wii U, and I already own the games, so this wouldn't affect me much. But let's say I'm completely wrong, and Papa Nintendo does release something for The Legend of Zelda, one that even us Wii U owners could get excited about. But what could it be? Well, Nintendo is so busy, and we're big kids now, maybe we could do it ourselves. Maybe it's time for us to get Zelda Dungeon Maker, just like Mario got. Papa Nintendo dabbled with the idea on the Link's Awakening remake, and it seems like something people would really enjoy. This could be the perfect thing for The Legend of Zelda to hold us over until our next big grand adventure blesses us again. The Switch 2 is rumored to have the ability to use the new Joy-Cons like a computer mouse, and that feature could get some really cool use in a hypothetical dungeon builder. Not for me, but for people way more creative than me. I, however, can play those levels and make that sweet, sweet content for you to watch while eating food at your desk at dinner time. The assumptions of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, however, do put a bit of a wrinkle in my hypothesizing that I will be getting to a bit later in the video, however. Before we get to said wrinkle, I want to quickly go over some of Nintendo's other IPs that we could be seeing at this Switch 2 Direct. First off, Metroid. Yeah, obviously we're going to see Metroid Prime 4. It's going to look amazing, you don't need me to tell you that. We know it'll be there. Next up we have Pokemon. Pokemon just got another huge look at what it has in store with Legends ZA. I expect we'll see it again, but with little to no new info for sure. Kirby, I could go either way on. I don't expect anything new, but I wouldn't necessarily be surprised either if something did come. Unless I'm mistaken, I think Animal Crossing and Splatoon have the same development team, so there ain't no way Papa Nintendo is going to give us both at the same time. If I had to guess which one you would get first, I'm gonna say Animal Crossing. We all remember how much of a chokehold New Horizons had on the world when it launched at the start of quarantine. However, that doesn't sound like something we would likely get on launch with the Switch 2. Animal Crossing feels like a big holiday or springtime push to me, with Splatoon coming sometime afterwards. This next one is a wild call, but I can't help but shake the feeling that something Kid Icarus is coming soon. I have zero logical reasoning for it, but I don't know, the vibes feel right, you know? Maybe it's because I'm currently streaming every Smash Fighter's most iconic game start to finish over on my Twitch channel, Twitch TV/Valderrami, by the way, thank you. And I'm getting dangerously close to Kid Icarus Uprising without a convenient way to play it. So, okay, fine. You caught me. I don't think it'll happen, but I am manifesting that energy into Papa Nintendo's Infinite Cosmos. One more thing you can definitely bet on would be some weird party game as a release title with just nothing but fun little minigame gimmicks. This could take the form of something original like 1-2-Switch or Wii Sports did, but it could also be something like Rhythm Heaven or WarioWare or something like that. Anyway, you remember that wrinkle I mentioned? Now allow me to explain it. Well, I don't actually think we're going to be getting a ton of brand new Switch 2 exclusive games from old Papa Nintendo. I do, however, think that we're going to be getting served a delicious platter of nostalgia in the form of retro games. And by retro, I mean the NSO will be expanding to the GameCube, because that console is nearly 25 years old. If I have to suffer with the burden of that knowledge that that's considered retro now, so too do you, dear viewer. However, figuring out which games exactly could be coming to a GameCube NSO expansion is actually a much more interesting conversation than you may initially realize. You see, the GameCube era is ripe with potential for HD ports and remasters, and so here is that wrinkle I mentioned. On one hand, you would expect something like Wind Waker or Twilight Princess to be a big seller for this service, but at that point it would hurt the sales of a potential HD port. But at the same time, not having these games in the service for the sake of selling an HD port could leave a sour taste in people's mouths. But ultimately, I do think that's what Papa Nintendo is going to do. That being said, if those aren't coming to a GameCube NSO, what would? There are a couple that immediately come to mind if you ask me. The first one is, of course, Mario's baby brother's Spooky Ghost House. The second and third games are playable now on modern hardware, but the first one isn't, so I think that's the most obvious play. Next up, we have F-Zero GX, because this game just screams, I don't want to dedicate the resources to making a whole ass new game in this franchise, but I do, however, want to cash in on it as best I can. That way, the dozens of F-Zero fans there are can have a little treat. And if you really think about it, I think this is the angle to be looking at these potential games. You gotta find something that people like, but is ultimately unlikely to get an HD remaster of any kind. Like Chibi Robo, Kirby's Air Ride, and Star Fox Adventures. These games are peak niche GameCube successes. Throw on a batch of GameCube-era Mario sports and party games and you're cooking. But I think you need to close that announcement with a real heavy hitter, and I think I know just the thing. It's Mario Kart Double Dash. This is not only the second highest selling GameCube game ever, we all know the highest selling, but it's also super beloved by fans and definitely not going to be getting remade since they don't really do that with Mario Kart titles. Now, let's address the big-ass elephant in Papa Nintendo's living room, and that's Super Smash Bros. Melee. Long story short, I don't think we're going to be getting it on a hypothetical NSO since we never got the first one in the N64 NSO. And I just kind of get the vibe that Papa Nintendo wants to pretend that it doesn't exist. Speaking of Super Smash Bros., however, that is a whole discussion in its own right, and y'all know Smash is really at the heart of this channel, and as such, I have a lot to say about this plucky little pillar of gaming. Are we getting another Smash game at some point? Yes. Obviously. Ultimate was the highest selling fighting game of all time. Smash is a juggernaut for Nintendo, and every single major console has had its own Smash title on it. Whether or not Sakurai is working on it, that's hard to say. We know he is working on whatever his next project is, and Smash is a likely candidate if we're being honest. He has specifically stated that he doesn't see Smash continuing without his involvement, and he knows that Papa Nintendo will want to keep the gravy train rolling. But he could very well be working on something else, and there's not much to say either way. The only things we really can talk about is, what will the game look like and when will we be seeing it? Everyone is always talking about roster cuts and rebooting the franchise from the ground up. Hell, I even threw my hat in the ring for that concept in my very first video. Thanks again for the support on that, by the way. And with the announcement that the Switch 2 will be backwards compatible with the Switch 1, that means Ultimate, as we have it now, will be playable on the new console. However, I really don't think that roster cuts are going to happen. I know Sakurai said he's not sure if he can make Ultimate happen again, but do you really expect him to say otherwise in any official capacity? There is no way he could say, yeah, we could do this again, easy peasy, considering how many parties would be involved in making that happen. any new Smash game without existing characters would be defined by those losses more than anything new the game tried to do. It won't matter who you add when people lost the characters they loved. Look, I spent years in the trenches fighting for my boy Sora to make it in, and I can't go back there. All this being said, the game being an advanced port of Ultimate isn't a good call either, because again, why would someone buy it when they can already play Ultimate on Switch 2 anyway? Honest to God, I feel like this is going to be another jump like the one from Smash 4 to Ultimate was, using the same infrastructure, rebalancing the game, adding new content and new fighters, and just taking us back on Sakurai's wild ride one more time. Or at least that's what I would want it to be anyway. As for when it's going to come out, I don't think it's something we would get immediately. Smash seems to always come out a bit delayed compared to Papa Nintendo's other heavy hitters. I would love to get it sooner, but I don't think that's very likely. Who really knows what's going to happen? Papa Nintendo works in mysterious ways. Getting all those third parties to sign on could end up being just too difficult. Speaking of third parties, this is still a general Switch 2 speculation video after all, and like usual, you guys caught me monologuing about Super Smash Bros. Again. And real quick, while I'm monologuing, this is a perfect time to do the YouTuber thing and point out that funny little thumbs up and subscribe button down below, just begging to be clicked on. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, third parties. Mark my words, the Switch 2 Direct is going to show a ton of third-party games in an attempt to show off the game's hardware and really incentivize people to buy it. I'm talking Red Dead Redemption 2, FromSoft stuff, pick which one you like best, I don't really play their games, Baldur's Gate 3, some sort of boring first-person shoot game, Split Fiction, which is Game of the Century by the way, FF7 Remake, and maybe Rebirth, or maybe we could finally see that rumored Final Fantasy IX remake show up, but what do I know, I'm not a wizard. Speaking of wizards, Marvel Rivals is totally going to get a special shout out because that game is on top of the world right now, like I'm on top of the enemy healers when I'm playing Captain America. It's bullying the other hero shooters the way I'm bullying the enemy team when I play Thor. But it's also going to struggle to play smoothly, just like I struggle to play smoothly when I play Spider-Man. Okay, joke's done now, but that's only because those are the only 3 characters I play. Also, because I am human, and as a human, I am deeply prone to going with my heart, despite how much I try to make a logic-based speculation video, my heart is telling me we're going to see 3 other things soon, even if I don't have a logical reason for thinking so. The first one is Hollow Knight Silksong. I think it's going to be a Switch 2 release game, and I think we're going to see it soon. Yes, I'm already wearing clown makeup, which this also reminds me I still need to play the first Hollow Knight. Second, anyone who knows me at all knows that I live my life at the complete beck and call of the Kingdom Hearts franchise. While we do have these games on Switch already, they're the goddamn cloud gaming versions, which is a complete waste of time and money. And I really think that we are going to get full, proper native ports of the whole franchise on Switch 2, and that includes Kingdom Hearts 3. We finally got the games on Steam a few months back, but it's been nearly 3 years since we've gotten any meaningful update on Missing Link in Kingdom Hearts 4, and my stupid ass heart is telling me that we may be finally getting both of these titles on Switch 2 as well. I have one more game that I want to talk about for Switch 2, and that is NintendoLand. My sweet, precious, beautiful NintendoLand. You were the best and most fun party game there ever was, and I would love nothing more than for Papa Nintendo to come out and make another one. A port from the Wii U version of the game would require some weird, janky extra screen edition, which, much like how I'm one of the 5 people in the world who still own a Wii U, I would also be one of the 5 people who would spend extra for a peripheral like that. But I don't know, man, I think it would be cool, leave me alone. Also, this is a Valderrami video, and I have an obligation to shill NintendoLand in my videos at this point. Now, that leaves us with 2 final questions. When are we getting this damn thing, and how much is it going to cost? As for when it'll come out, I feel like late May to early June feels the most likely, and there's a couple of reasons this makes sense to me. Papa Nintendo is inviting people from all around the world to come and demo this thing in various cities throughout April and May. The console releasing soon after people getting their hands on it would make a lot of sense. People get to try it themselves, people like gaming YouTubers who aren't me because I didn't win the raffle can hype it up, and it just makes sense. Additionally, every year in mid-June, like a spirit Halloween taking over an old grocery store, Summer's Games Fest is set up shop where E3 used to be. And I feel like the Switch 2 coming hot off the presses right before this is a great call because it allows Nintendo and other game companies too to show what they got cooking so that viewers at home can get their grubby little hands on them. Also, the Switch 1 released not too long after its announcement back in the olden days of like 7 years ago, so there's a potential pattern here. Or it could release around the holidays because Papa Nintendo wants to make me look stupid, who knows. As for how much it's going to cost, I don't know, like $400 maybe? I'm not at all a numbers kind of guy, so this is totally outside my wheelhouse, but $400-ish feels right to me. Alright lads, that's that. Thank you for watching. If you like this little trip into my unhinged video game ramblings, I would love if you checked out some of my other content. I've got some other fun stuff in the works right now that's almost ready to see the light of day, but I would also love any suggestions of stuff you guys would like to see from me. If you want to hear from me more often than once every few weeks, you could check out my Twitch channel, where you will usually find me continuing my quest to beat every Smash Fighter's most iconic game. I am also going to be streaming my reaction to the Switch 2 Direct when the time comes. Anyway, what do y'all think? Am I stupid for thinking that old Papa Nintendo will put a Mario game on the Switch 2? Are you convinced we're finally gonna get Legs, the sequel to ARMS? Let me know down in the comments. This is my first time doing a speculation video like this, so I would really love some feedback from you guys on how you feel. And with that, I once again yearn for the content mines, and I can't wait to see what I dig up next for you all. Have a good one.